bless your heart.
Thank you. Chair Machado, please. Thank you for being with us for the past 2 days, Trustee Machado. I know that you live on Molokai, so this is very late. Okay, I was very compelled by your testimony. There were some very salient points you brought up. First and foremost, you talked about process. As somebody who is here in her capacity as the chairperson of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, you are very intimately familiar with the process that is the regular session. You've heard many people testify that this bill should have been brought in a regular session, and in your written testimony, you indicate the same thing. As someone who is intimately familiar with the legislative process, can you please explain why the special session is inadequate and why this bill should not be passed in a special session?
I believe that Representative Jean Ward had described that there's some public health issues that it would have been referred to the Health Committee. There are various layers that could be referred, whether it be a double, a triple, or just a two-tier level, but that would constitute the kind of level that you would not have in a tight situation as this. What I mean is, I think you've heard repeatedly how inadequate the time frame has been. We sat through the Monday hearing in front of the Senate Judiciary, and it went very quick and abrupt. It got referred down, took a vote, and then bingo, we're here Thursday on Halloween. And I can tell you that there was some suspicion that the Thursday was selected because all the churches do their, Hallow hymn. And so that would have stagnated or limited those that could participate openly to testify. So that began the eroding of a trust-related responsibility on a process, given what the House was left with the bill to review. Also, what didn't work out well was that there was a poll that was in the Star Advertiser way before this process began, and those that were interviewed had already identified their positions, that they were for it, those that were opposed to it, and which ones were undecided. So normally you would like to think that you would have the ample time, whether it takes 3 months to review, make the proper referrals, vet it in each of the houses coming from the Senate, then you make your appropriate, and if you need your appropriate review, and if you need to, you can get it to conference. That did not happen. It appeared that it was a slam dunk situation coming directly from my friend, the governor of the state of Hawaii, Neil Abercrombie. And then it changed from what they call marriage equality to just equality on SB 1. And there were other provisions. If you line it up on the two bills, there were a little bit more details that went into SB 1 that gave some suspect that, gee, this was going to be a lot more difficult to untangle or to unravel if we were going to try to get to the level we wanted. If it is not what you have provided us here, the two chairs, this process, we would still be in darkness. And I don't use that in a biblical term, but I believe that we would not know how to even deal with trying to get to the root causes or the information that we need. And that's why I can tell you folks, you only have a few options. Hold a bill, vote no, or work on an amendment that could be substantial, as Kahu Alwyn Ahu has described, that we all can feel and leave the table knowing that we was not in a kangaroo court. That's all I would have to say. It just felt it was a one-sided operation. When you go into the full session, you really have a lot of opportunity to talk story, to even try to get approval to take it out to the neighbor islands to get input. And that's what I feel would have quieted down everybody's suspect. Transparency is important in your roles.
Okay, thank you. Chair, also, in your written testimony, you bring up 572C, which I brought up several times,
Yes.
regarding the parental presumptions. And we had a woman testifying earlier today. She gave that example about two female women, one of them Native Hawaiian, one non-Native Hawaiian, and the non-Native Hawaiian has a child who, with another non-Native Hawaiian or with sperm that is non-Native Hawaiian, they produce a child, and because of the parental presumption, that child without one drop of Native Hawaiian blood may now receive certain benefits entitled to Native Hawaiians.
I find that quite divisive, when it comes to
Could you elaborate on that, please, Trustee?
divisiveness means that there is a blood quantum that requires us that are eligible for a housing component, and you have to have 50% blood quantum. And then you have those that are recognized, especially enrollment into the private school called Kamehameha Schools Bishop Estate, where you don't have to have any blood quantum. At the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, we serve both beneficiaries through our grant-making program as well as direct services, yeah?
Okay.
So either way you go, the bloodline, a very valid proof of your ethnicity is going to be required. And the way they've done it now is by registration.
Okay.
Each group, such as Kamehameha Schools Bishop Estate, they have a database. We have a database, so students that are going on to college and they want to prove their ancestry, we provide that verification. Same thing with the Department of Hawaiian Homes, which is not public. If you can trace your what they call the moku auhau and trace back to your 50% lineage, that's something that they have their own process that verifies that. And that's what it would end up being, tracing your moku auhau and validating if you have the blood or the koko, as we call it.
Okay, but arguably now, if this bill were to pass as is, then in that situation that we described, that child would automatically have as his or her other
That's
parent
what it's
a Native
intended
Hawaiian.
to do. It would be providing that opportunity.
I'm sorry?
It would provide for that opportunity for the
So
child.
that child would in fact qualify
Absolutely.
without having one drop of Hawaiian blood.
That's what it's described as.
Okay,
now.
and finally, Trustee, you also talked about one final thing, and you didn't get into it in your verbal testimony about public accommodations, because again, we talk about it a lot, and you really went into it in your written testimony. Can you please elaborate, because you did not talk about it in your verbal testimony?
I forget what I said, but it couldn't have been as clear as what Kahu Elwed Ahu has described about the lack of protections.
Okay,
Really, I represent a very small church. We're not even a nonprofit in our Ho'omana churches statewide. To me, it represents that if my kahu and our memberships are not in the thousands, if our kahu, and we have 5 participating churches under our denomination, if the position of the kahu for each church is, and they have decided not to participate. We have halls. On Molokai, the Halava Church, Jerusalem Aho in Halava, is the most photographed church on Molokai. That might be subject to individuals wanting to go to a picturesque Hawaiian valley, beautiful waterfall, very quiet area to have wedding ceremonies there. It is beautiful. The church is that particular church goes through a lot of weddings there. They don't necessarily prefer on the beach side, but they like the way the church is situated with the steeple.
But are they open to the public? Do they allow the public, like Japanese visitors or tourists, come and...
We have visitors that come. They're impressed with how it's kept. They leave little donations. They leave notes and talk about how beautiful it is in the valley, as well as the church being there.
Okay, but we're not talking, because solemnization is out. We already know solemnization
Okay.
is covered in this bill, but let's say, can it be used like as a meeting room? Can a group go there?
Absolutely, we can accommodate for meeting areas as well as.
And do
people
you
to
do they in fact do that?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so you do fall into the public accommodation.
We do.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Members, any other questions? Oh,
Chair.
can we, do you mind, Representative Ward, can we just, we have
Yeah, I'll
one
make my
person.
answer short too.
Yeah, I'm going to be very brief.
Chairman Rhodes.
We have 5 minutes, and we
And-
have one person whose number is
This
less
young
than
lady has stuck with
3,400.
us for 2 days, Chair. I want to thank
Okay,
her that
please
she's
quickly,
been here.
quickly.
But I also know that if there's a fourth branch of government, it's you. And it's a very key thing because Hawaiian sovereignty is emerging. How would this bill impact a Hawaiian sovereign nation, or would it be something that wouldn't be effective, or something that
If
OHA
the
itself
sovereign
would do?
nation was enacted and in position, it would be up to the governance provision to set that policy. Right now, we have no policy on
And
this.
you've not discussed this particular issue?
No.
It's
Okay.
not- Okay,
Thank you. I believe we have one testifier who has a number that's lower than